Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this Thursday edition of Gulfstream Today. Joining you from our paddock studios at lovely Gulfstream Park, Keisha Courtney, Jason Blute alongside. Delighted to have you with us as we take a tour through this 8-race program on the card. And we hate to begin things on a somber note, but just saw on Twitter a few moments ago that the Great Holy Bull, my favorite horse of all time and a prior Florida Derby winner, euthanized at the age of 26.
Yes, he was getting quite up there and certainly left quite the legacy. We, of course, have that graded stakes in his name right here at Gulfstream, a key prep for the Florida Derby and the Kentucky Derby. So condolences to all of those who were fans of Holy Bull and were personally connected to him.
Yes, his Met Mile, Travers, his Woodward, I mean, his 3-year-old campaign and even 2-year-old campaign was really the stuff of legend. And, of course, his Travers victory goes hand in hand with the call of the one and only Tom Durkin. There is cause for concern, and just the gameness and heart and determination Holy Bull showed in that 1994 Midsummer Derby. He is one that I'll never forget. I'm a little shaken here, but we say R.I.P. Holy Bull, and thank you for the memories.
Absolutely.
Now, tough to turn the page off that, but we do just that with an 8-race card on tap and a lot going on, Acacia. An action-packed Friday, Belmont Stakes Eve, if you will, right here at Gulfstream Park. I am up first, and we'll try to stop the hemorrhaging of those beautiful Beat the Expert Gulfstream Park polos. We've been losing 3 of them each and every Friday with the Beat the Expert, but I'm feeling good, and I'm taking on all challengers tomorrow afternoon.
I love it. You have the Great Friday card to look at there, and don't forget to get your picks in by first post. You can go and enter your picks on the Facebook page, and that first post, speaking of, is 2:15 tomorrow. So not only can you come out and try to play Beat the Expert, but you can enjoy live music, that Twilight Racing card. So don't forget, we start a little bit earlier. You have a little bit more time to get your picks.
A little more study time. 2:15 p.m. or thereabouts will be the Friday first race post time, and it's all good. We'll have the advanced wagering on track here tomorrow for the gigantic Belmont Stakes card, the third and final leg of the Triple Crown, and it does seem like, at least as far as the favorites go, that field has been in a bit of disarray, losing Classic Empire a few days ago to that foot abscess. I also saw on social media today that the Japanese horse had been treated for soreness or something close to that, and we'll wait with bated breath. Hopefully he runs. We'd like to see Epicaris do his thing.
It would definitely be fun to see him run. There's been a lot of hype about him, of course, finishing second to Thunder Snow in the UAE Derby. Thunder Snow not too happy about running in the Kentucky Derby, but it would be great to see Epicaris. Apparently does have a little bit of lameness, so thoughts with him, of course. But an interesting field, looking at Lee, the only one to run in all 3. I think I'm going with Taprit, though. Do you have your pick yet?
I don't have a pick, but it might just be Taprit for, I'm sure, the obvious reasons that you like him for. First and foremost, it just seems, and maybe we're kind of late to the party, that Todd Pletcher has just insanely excelled with that 5-week turnaround between the Derby and the Belmont Stakes, where he has gotten a number of big-priced horses in the Test of the Champion to really step up and overachieve at big prices.
He has, and that's a great point. Not to mention, could be another good day for his sire, Tappet, of course, sire Creator last year and Tonalist a couple years ago. So could be another big day for those connections as well.
Yeah, and of course we'll be watching all the action from Belmont Park as they kick off their Belmont Stakes Racing Festival. You can watch and wager on Belmont Park, Gulfstream, and pretty much any track running right here on track with us at beautiful Gulfstream Park. Now let's just get through the formalities on today's show. We like to remind everybody we have a couple of pick 5s on the program. We are good, by the way, and off the turf. Little cloudy, little humid, but otherwise a very nice day in Hallandale Beach. We'll kick off the card at about 1:15 p.m. with that early pick 5. Race number 2, Acacia, is where the Super High 5 gets underway.
Yes, it does. That's any race with 7 or more betting interests. And then we have that story of the day, the carryover in the Rainbow Six, $734,000. And really expect that to keep on growing. And we actually, as you said, we saw the sun today. It just came out as I was talking about the Rainbow Six. So don't forget to take part in that.
No, I think Mother Nature very happy we're running today at Gulfstream Park with the sun out and making a rare appearance. And, of course, that late pick 5 I hope to take down with a pair of winning pick 5 tickets. Acacia will have her daily Rainbow Six ticket, and we'll see if we get lucky. By my count, April 9th for a $90,000 score was the last time we had a single jackpot winner of the Rainbow Six. And it's been fun, especially over the last couple weeks, once we hit about 500K, to just watch that carryover evolve and grow by the afternoon.
As it just keeps slowly building and building, your tension gets a little bit higher as you get to the last race, wondering if there are going to be any single tickets left. But don't forget, even if you don't have that unique single ticket, still some really nice payouts.
Yeah, for sure. 70% to the winner. Acacia will have her reminder shortly before the sequence gets underway in race number 3. And again, her ticket coming up moments later on this show. But let's dive into the pick 5 and the first of 8 on an afternoon in which we are good and off the turf at Gulfstream Park. As far as my early pick 5, it's in Pletcher and Gaffleone we trust. I'm singling them in the last leg with the 4 Bal Harbor, who I thought against a speed-favoring track May 12th ran gigantic first time out. And a good firster will have to have his running shoes on. Any firster will have to have his running shoes on, because I think Bal Harbor, again, might be a pretty nice horse. We'll use 2 in the first, and we'll certainly expel our opinions in just a few moments. 3 in the second. We'll use a couple in the third and a 3-bagger in race number 4, an off-the-turf 1-mile race here on the main track. And speaking of off the turf, that's where we are for race number 1 at about 1:15. We start the card with a field of 6 with the 12-5, 3-and-up filly mare Claimer. Not a heck of a lot of solid dirt form, consistent dirt form to go off in this first race today. And they've also, and they're all in the same boat, they've got to go 7 furlongs. I think those are the 2 main questions of this entire field in the opener.
And that's a great point to keep in mind. Off the turf, that 7.5 furlongs on the turf, 2 turns on the grass now is 1 turn coming out of the chute on the main track. So a really big change to the makeup of the race. And I did land on the horse a little bit begrudgingly, I guess, the number 8 Commissioned, who's actually never been on the turf before. There actually was some turf pedigree on the bottom side. The dam was an 8-time grass winner, but she's run okay on the dirt at Tampa against $16,000 maidens. I think it's kind of a lateral move in here. Would I single her? Absolutely not, but that's just who I landed on based off the fact that she's run okay in dirt races.
Oh, she's got the best dirt form, hands down, and perhaps a case of just showing up and timing it right, and the weatherman cooperating for trainer George Bush, who I am not familiar with, not our former president, but a trainer who has run here somewhat on a rare basis, or sparing basis at Gulfstream Park over the last 5 years. Yeah, he's clearly a guy based at Tampa Bay Downs. He's won for his last 16 over a 5-year span at Gulfstream Park. Quickly, the 6 Still Beautiful is where I went, and maybe a mare, 5-year-old after all, who's only run 4 times, but I think her last, at least I'm hoping her last, was a step in the right direction. And it was also a race at a mile, and I think in relative terms she ran pretty well at a demanding distance around 1 turn, and it wasn't a case of her just finishing a suck-up 4th at 50-1. She was actually involved in the pace. I like that she was involved early before weakening, and that gives me some confidence she'll be able to outfinish these going 7 in the first today. And
that really could be the key. She did have a 4th place finish behind a repeat winner on a sloppy track, so maybe she does have a little bit of form to work off.
All right, here's the second 1-mile main track. Thursday's early pick 4 begins with the 62.53 and a filly mare claiming race, and we saw trainer Gerald Bennett not disappoint the chalk players, and we were among the fans of our Angel Caitlin, and maybe in hindsight a sloppy main track yesterday at Gulfstream that she wasn't too fond of. She earned the victory in our featured Liza Jane 75 buyer for our Angel Caitlin, and perhaps not a crazy move to think she might be running next in the Azalea here, part of that Summit of Speed card.
I certainly hope so. I think she'd certainly fit in there. We've seen a lot of nice horses coming out of the Gerald Bennett barn. I think he places them well, shipping in from Tampa and coming to Gulfstream as well, and she definitely is a very quality filly, so excited to see what she does next.
And the barn is right back at it here, and I think they've got the horse that's kind of the nucleus of race number 2 in Miss High Tide. And the good news, if you like Miss High Tide, she is a winner on the dirt, in fact a multiple winner on the dirt, as we backtrack with our spotlight to April 1st across town. Way across town at Tampa Bay Downs.
Yes, way across town. Her most recent race was on the turf. This was her race 2 back on the dirt. Now you can see she's the number 4. She's the 9-5 horse up front there. She was away early, and it looked like the pack was pretty well bunched up. You can kind of see them all close together, as it was a small and compact field. But as she started to pull away, the top two were really game. And I just wanted to highlight there, keep your eye on the number 4 horse, how she never really is without pressure, but she's pretty game to pull away from the rest of the field. So I think off of that last dirt performance, this is a race 3 starts back, she definitely is one to respect.
Yeah, and probably the horse to beat. Now, we do have a fairly specific trainer statistic to get to. As a rule of thumb, I prefer more general trainer stats, but playing around with Formulator came up, and it's kind of a quirky stat, but I do think it's one to take a look at. One for the last 9 starters is trainer Gerald Bennett with the 50% drop in claiming price, moving turf to dirt. I think for such a specific angle like this, the sample size is actually fairly significant in terms of numbers. I don't like the 1 for 9 as far as the winning and even just hitting the board in 2 of those 9 and a very short ROI. And that led me, really, that was the basis of picking against, although I used her in the pick 5, the number 2 Miss High Tide. I like the 7 Holy Giacomo, Keisha. Very logical contender on paper, somewhat fitting. We have a filly, a gray filly in race number 2 with Holy Bull as the grandsire of the great Giacomo, or the great Giacomo on the first Saturday in May. I don't know if he was great at any other time of his career, but he was Holy Bull's first and only Kentucky Derby winner, and I'm going to take Holy Giacomo, who might just be the speed of the speed.
And that's exactly what I was thinking. Maybe that's your hunch bet today
Yes,
with the Holy
my heart.
Bull pedigree. Lots of gray in there with alphabet soup on the bottom side as well. But I think I agree with you that she is the speed of the speed. She won last time out the 6250 non-winners of 2 level. So I think that this is a logical next spot for her. After running against tougher competition, that drop in class, I like that stat that you showed, was a little bit of a red flag for Miss High Tide, and she might be a short-priced, vulnerable favorite. So I went with the speed to the outside. You've got Tyler Gaffleone, Armando de la Cerda. Her dirt form is very strong.
Yeah, very strong, relatively speaking. My price quickly, the 5 Cunningham Creek, who looks ridiculous on paper and may just get outrun, but she'll be a big price and maybe a time to watch these Bruno Schickendas-owned horses with trainer Yvonne Belsois, considering they had a big 13-1 winner, I think, on Sunday's card, and
With
Fergie
Elvis
Licious
Trujillo
with Elvis Trujillo as well. Good call there. And that horse didn't make much sense. So maybe one of these trainers and owners that might get on a bit of a run here early on at Gulfstream. We'll wait and see, but that was my price idea. We'll see if you have any prices lurking. In fact, Acacia's Rainbow 6, don't touch that dial. More Gulfstream today, including her ticket when we come back.
At ExpressBet, we celebrate the champions that make horse racing great. That's why we provide more ways to bet from more places than ever. We've built an entire family of brands to give players more of the rewards they deserve, give bettors the information they need to win, and provide a community for horse bettors. Because the best way to support the champions of horse racing is to champion horse racing. ExpressBet. We are racing.
Two down, 6 to go on this live Thursday edition of Gulfstream Today. Sitting and joining you from our lovely paddock studios. It's beautiful Gulfstream Park. Acacia and Jason, glad you're still with us, and we get to the real crux of the matter here. 730,000 plus in Thursday's Rainbow 6 carryover, and Acacia guaranteed during the break that this ticket will come in. Did you say that?
I don't know about guaranteed.
Or maybe you didn't say that, but
Jason guaranteed it for me, so let's put it that way. I certainly hope so. I did find a single, trying to keep things, because I wanted to spread in some of the earlier races. I do think in that 6th race where I singled Jaden's Best, if you want to spend a little bit more money because there is that great carryover, you could use a couple other horses in there, but that will be my single. I'm using 3 to start things off, 4 in the 4th race, using looking for in the 5th as well. That is that race, that maiden special with Ball Harbor. I do think that's the horse to beat, but a couple other interesting ones in there, including Bobby Axe for Antonio Sano, nicely bred 2-year-old. Sano had a 2-year-old winner yesterday, so I'll use 4 horses, maybe trying to find some value in that race. Singling Jaden's Best, who loves a wet track, but you have the likes of Formal, even Papa Pig, Mal Guapo in there as well. You could have that be a spread race, but again, I will go with Jaden's Best on the off track. 7th race, just using 2 and 2 in the finale, getting Loving Valentina coming off of the main track only list with Tyler Gaffleone. So we'll see if that does it for me with just 2 in the last, $38.40.
Yep, and we follow, and we hope it's right, Tyler Gaffleone. His first call did draw in, as you perfectly put it, the 15 Loving Valentina, who, as a spoiler, is my single in race number 8 today as far as the late pick 5, which we'll have for you after we get through and pick our way through this group of 3 and up. Philly Mare, $35,000 to $25,000 claimers. Main tracking it here at 6 furlongs. A quick little pop and stat for the 3. Dancing Queenie, who looks properly spotted for her career debut. She looks very alive for trainer David Fox, who's done a good job, batting almost 20% with these first-time starting maiden claiming horses over the last 5 years, an ROI of $2.64. And I just think this filly by Big Drama commands respect. I used her in my early pick 5. She's covered on Acacia's Rainbow 6 ticket. She's just a major player here, the 3 Dancing Queenie.
I agree with you. And Dave Fox, I like that stat. He does a really good job in maiden claiming races in particular. So I agree. I think she's well spotted. On paper, One Direction Song is the one to beat. I thought she ran a big race last time out. When I was a little bit hesitant about her race 2 starts back, I thought that she could have had a bit more follow through. She certainly improved with the slight class drop last time. She had pressure. She was dueling throughout. And Charlie Secret ended up kind of edging away from her in there. But again, I thought it was a big race from her.
She gets One Direction, gets one more chance. And hopefully today it's One Direction right into the winner's circle, as we're likely to have the Alters family joining us, including my boys, Roddy and Daniel, who are just as sharp as can be. All right, One Direction Song for Acacia and myself. One more chance in race number 3. 4th race kicks off the late pick 5. Again, an 8-race card. Just keep that in mind. The late 5 begins in race 4. We're off the turf, 1 mile with this 3 and up, $16,000 optional claimer. Here's my late pick 5 ticket. Had toyed using just 2 in this opening leg, and I wound up using, or at least including, the 8 Rock Eagle, who I think on talent might be the best horse in the 4th, but is a major question mark on the dirt. Still didn't want to get beat by him. We single and stand alone with the 4 Bal Harbor off a debut that I like quite a bit for Pletcher and Gaffleone a few weeks ago. And then fast forwarding after a 3x2 spread, we'll single Loving Valentina, the old 15, drawing in race number 8 to hopefully cap the card and a winning ticket as looking to get back on track. I've cost quite a bit of money with those losing tickets here since I showed up at Gulfstream Park about a month ago. But that's a whole other story for another time. What are you doing in race number 4 again after the surface switch? I would argue that Ender's Cat and the number 7 horse, Lionheart Legend, are the 2 best dirt horses in the race. I love that you see it completely different than I do.
I did. Well, I agree with you on Ender's Cat, and I was kind of wondering what he was doing on the turf, and now we're rained off, and I'm thinking that the connections must be very happy about that, considering that he has very strong dirt form relative to the rest of the field. But Ender's Cat, he is a 3-time dirt winner. I went to the complete outside, though. Another main track only getting in. I do, and I almost didn't go with this one. But I just couldn't ignore Bama Bound and the kind of form that he's been in and how he's kept his form even through multiple claims and changing barns really frequently. He's 11-time winner on the dirt, 3-time winner on a wet track. He won on the slop last time out ahead of Mal Guapo, and I just thought it was a big performance from him. He is technically taking a step up in class first off the claim for Angel Quiroz, but he has speed from the outside, and again, he's just been in strong form.
No, it's a good point. I probably should have had him at 4th at the very least, if not 3rd, because he is a true tried and true dirt horse, and he catches for the most part, at least as far as mid-pack, he catches a bunch of horses playing his game on the dirt today. But Ender's Cat, in the meantime, down on the rails, done some good work late and seems like a logical contender. And I fully admit Mile might be pushing it with the 7 Lionheart Legend, but I like this Louisiana bred by Custom for Carlos's form out of town at Fairgrounds. I'll take him for Harry Benson in race number 4. Let's move on to the 5th occasion. Everybody out there in simulcast land as we continue on, and we'll kick off Thursday's late 4 with a field of 8, in fact, in this 2-year-old $50,000 maiden special weight. 4.5 furlongs. We lost the 7 Controlled Fury as an early scratch. A number of freshman sires in the race, like Shanghai Bobby, 40 Tails, Brethren, but you have First Samurai, the sire of Bal Harbor, who ran big first time out.
You do, and we'll backtrack to that race. This was the debut race for Bal Harbor. He was beaten by Uncle Runt, who you see as 99. He was really more like 104 to 1. So
I loved him that day.
Oh yeah, we all did. And Bal Harbor's the number 5. I just want to freeze it right there because I want to highlight, here's Uncle Runt. He's out on the front. You mentioned this earlier, which I think is a great point, that it was a speed favoring day, and here in the Red Oak stable colors is Bal Harbor. So he had to close and make up so much more ground compared to the winner, and now we'll let it roll. And I thought that he closed so strongly and with good energy with a horse that got his own way on the front end and probably shouldn't have been that price. He had good works on the farm, but again, just on the outside, the number 5 in the red cap, closing very well.
And we're not talking about in the form of the number 4 Bal Harbor, about a horse who's going to be a big price, probably even overbet a little bit, if nothing else, because of the connections. But I think your point is very well taken off that debut. Even looking at a horse, a filly, the Fort Lauderdale filly in Blonde Bomber, and you could see from a mental and even physical standpoint, and it certainly displayed itself out on the racetrack, her improvement yesterday in running second, first to second start.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at this horse physically, Bal Harbor in his debut race, I did think he might need a race and maybe just be one that was well prepared because he is from the Pletcher barn and be able to win at first asking, but I'm really excited to see him second time out. But there are some other horses, one other that did have experience, the number 6 Kingston Pike, and I think the biggest thing for him is that he'll be part of the pace. And now he was very studdish, very vocal last time out, so I'm curious to see how he acts today. Connection saying that was very normal around the barn, so they weren't surprised about him at all. But we will show his race as well on May 3rd as he shot out of the gate, and we'll just let it go from the break there because I wanted to show how quickly he got out, and it was kind of crazy. He was beaten by Admiral Jimmy, who we're going to see in stakes competition for Todd Pletcher on Friday at Belmont. Just a very well prepared, well put together horse. But you can see the two of them, of course, at Kingston Pike right there in the Jacks Are Better colors. And he's not able to keep up with Admiral Jimmy, but I think that he does have a very well-intentioned first race.
You would think, and from a foundation standpoint, he's likely to improve today, maybe have a bit more bottom, a bit more stamina. But boy, oh boy, you hear that phrase often, oh, my horse beat the gate. He really beat the gate.
Did.
I mean, that was just, away from there like a laser. Quickly, we'll give a little plug to trainer Antonio Sano. I'm glad to see Antonio really picking up horses, and he's picking up some 2-year-olds. They paid up for this son of Shanghai Bobby. He's with a good trainer, and we'll bring on the Bluets Bullets concerning the 8 Bobby Acts. And Antonio, of course, as you said earlier, had a 2-year-old winner on the Wednesday card, filly by Gemologist. We'll see what Shanghai Bobby could do. Obviously, he was a very precocious 2-year-old who could carry his speed a long ways. He's 0 for 4 thus far with his 2-year-old runners. Now, this one is out of a 21-year-old dam who's getting up there in age. The star of the family, $600,000 earner, Tuffelsberg, who was a very good sprinter and really a sprinter who was kind of made of iron, one of those real throwback war horses, if you will. A good crew on tap in race number 5. We're looking forward to it. Let's move on to race number 6. We'll stretch out on the main as we head down the stretch on this 8-race program. Race number 6, a $10,000 optional claimer starter race, and says just a likable crew. I kind of sound like a broken record at times, but I said it in the first race on May 19th with the likes of Sir Hanoun, Jaden's Best, and Papa Pig. You don't have Sir Hanoun here, but you've got the usual suspects who they're just tough horses.
They really are. Hard knocking is definitely the word to use. Now, Jaden's Best, the 8, was my single in here. He has a lot of speed. He likes the wet track. He's 2 for 6 with a second and a third. I think that speed is really going to be the key for him, too. And last time he was chasing the pace, and I think he's a horse that's better better on the front end. And I think he can do that from the outside in here. There are a couple other horses in here who do like to be forwardly placed, perhaps Donegal Hall, Mel Guapo, Bourbon City, but I don't think that they're quite as fast early as Jaden's Best is in here, or that they're need the lead times.
But that post really helps Edgar Zayas out, where it could kind of put him in the driver's seat, because he can rate and stalk from off the pace, as he did most recently in running a good second and clear second behind the razor sharp Sir Hernan, who's really gotten on a big run. My pick, the 2 Formal, has some things to like. He's going to have to improve here, and that, I think, is the main question mark. But I do think he'll compensate you in that department, because he's slower than the main contenders, with a decent price on the board today for trainer Gerald Bennett. And the more I look at Formal, I think there's some things to like, and we'll bring up another slate, as he is sent out by a 3-time leading Tampa Bay Downs trainer, and Gerald Bennett. He could have a big day. This horse was a good second over a track that was carrying speed on May 12th, and he's already got some experience with the win in a second at Gulfstream Park, 1-1 from 2 starts. So I'll take the 3-year-old in Formal. Not an easy task, I readily admit that, stepping up and facing just a seasoned crew of older vets.
He does, and we have to give a quick mention to Papa Pig, a fan favorite around here at Gulfstream. He has to close from off of it. Hopefully he'll have some pace today, but Tyler Gaffleone does stay aboard.
Yes, does need some pace, and a horse that shows up again every couple of weeks. A mile might not be his best distance, but again, you can't throw out Papa Pig. He's very consistent in picking up checks. Field of 5 awaits in race number 7 as we go 7 furlongs on the main track. This one an off the turf $16,000 claiming race. These are 3 and up fillies and mares, and I headed down towards the inside post, a pair of horses who for the most part have faced better and richer claimers on a consistent basis. The 2 Tonina and the 4 Mi. How do you say that?
Miquama.
That sounds good.
I think so.
Filly, the 4, who's by Cowtown Cat.
I like
That's
it.
how I will call her from now on.
I'm going to leave that one up to Pete Aiello. Now, her race on the turf last time out actually was really strong, so I was interested to see her in the turf sticking at this level again today, but she does have prior dirt form. That is where her only win did come on the dirt. Now, Tonina, I certainly respect as well, but her race last time on the slop, though it was against tougher, it was very disappointing. Yes, she did veer out at the start, but I think that you still can respect her on the drop.
You do. I mean, you just have to respect her on the drop. There's no layoff or anything like that. We'll see if she can turn things around. Off the bad race, never a good sign. She basically plummets in claiming price, but again, her overall form, even looking at her last, sold me on her narrowly over the Cowtown Cat filly in race 4. We need to brush up in race 7.
That's right.
We need to brush up on our Spanish after the show. And we're about to finish the show here as we basically hit the finish line today with race number 8, your Thursday night cap, a $10,000 5 furlong off the turf, 3 and up filly and mare claimer. The more I looked around, and it was Tyler Gaffleone's first call, I said, the 15 Loving Valentina, who we saw just a week ago running, and she's been consistently good. She just looks best to me here at a short price.
She does. I totally agree with you, and I agree with you singling her in here as well. She is going to move in a couple posts with her scratches to the inside. She was the heavy favorite last time, and boy did she deliver, winning by nearly 5 lengths. She's won on the slop. She's won going short, going long. Everything that they've thrown at her, she's been able to handle. So I think she's in a good spot today, and of course, as you said, I like that Tyler stays.
Yeah, and Tyler riding up at Belmont Park Saturday afternoon. I believe he's got a call or 2 tomorrow. He's also got calls here at Gulfstream Park. We'll see what he and his agent Matt Musicar decide to do. We hope you stick around, and that's a decision that I think is a 1-9 shot. We'll have Acacia, Ron Nicoletti, myself, and of course the voice of Gulfstream Park, Pete Aiello, is coming up next with that opening set of Scratches and Changes.